What I have here today is a device that I can't recommend to anybody because it's for nobody. It is the GPD Win Max 2, and the reason why I say that is not because it is a bad device, but because it's super niche and super specific. So let's go ahead and get in to this device and break down everything about it after 1 month of reviewing it. So the GPD Win Max 2 is a Windows-based, air quotes, handheld device, but is also a laptop form factor with a full-size or semi-full-size keyboard. It usually comes with a 1 or 2 terabyte M.2 SSD. It is running the AMD Ryzen 8840U processor, APU with an AMD Radeon 780M integrated graphics card. It typically runs 32 or 64 gigabytes RAM, but in my experience I am using the 32 gigabyte version. It is a 10.1 LCD display and it gets up to 60 Hz. It is advertised to have high efficiency cooling, and it is optional to use a 4G LTE module on the back of the device. It has Hall sensor analog sticks, so you don't have to worry about stick drift at all. It also has another M.2 slot that you can throw in extra storage with. It has a 67 watt-hour battery, 4 speakers in the front. It does run Wi-Fi 6. It has an SD and micro SD card slot. It is USB 4 compatible, which will give you access to Thunderbolt 3, but it also supports Oculink for eGPU capabilities, and it is Bluetooth 5.2. These are the specifications on their website. You can go ahead and go check that out. I will say, in my experience, the I/O on this device is very useful. It's very good for externalizing the graphics, but it can also actually use a keyboard, mouse, and you typically won't need many docks with this device because of how much I/O it does have. They also do have an option for a pen because this is a touchscreen display, but I, in my personal preference, will not be using it and have not bought that because it is not a big deal for me. I don't use a touchscreen too much at all. If anything, I wish it wasn't touchscreen. Getting into my experience after a month of using this device, I will say there are pros and cons, so let's go over them right now. Let's give you the good. So this device is very powerful. It can definitely run games like Helldivers, it can run games like Forza, and it can run some AAA titles at very admirable FPS and at very admirable performance. I never caught myself really needing more performance where it was just an unplayable experience in any game at all. And that is to say that I do play some very heavy games on this device. But that said, if you do want extra capability, like I said earlier, there is eGPUs that you can go ahead and purchase in order to boost your performance. I myself do have the GPD G1 and I have a few other options too. The USB 4 capability on this device is very useful in my experience, and I will also say that the Thunderbolt 3 can work with that USB 4 port, and you can also use Oculink, but I will say typically Oculink is a lot less convenient because you have to reboot the device fully. More on an eGPU video later, so subscribe to my channel for that at another time. Other than that though, I will say that the experience of this device itself with the joysticks and the keyboard is quite nice. I have no complaints except for maybe the joysticks feeling a little bit short, but it's understandable because they have to recede under that flat layer, otherwise the screen won't close. The triggers, the joysticks, everything is good. I will say when I first got it, I did have to disable L3 and R3 because they did have a pre-mapped function that was pretty annoying, that it would open a certain application whenever they were clicked in just a regular home setting. You can also definitely add anything you want because this is a Windows device. So if you're interested in adding other TDP managers like Handheld Companion, you can definitely do so on this device. I'll definitely be showing some gameplay up here while I'm speaking so you guys can see for yourself. I don't have an FPS tracker, and I may do that in a separate video, maybe like a final comprehensive review. This is only a 1 month after update after all, but if you have 2 eyes, you can probably see that this is very good performance and definitely a playable experience overall. I will say that anymore dock station, there is definitely accessories out there available, and if you do have a 3D printer like I did, you can definitely print this stand. I will have the link down below. Thank you to the original creator for this stand. Ultimately though, when I got this bundle, I got it with a case that was very nice. It was like a little old notebook kind of case. It's their original blue one, and it did come with a 120-watt charger, which is oddly, big size, but makes sense for a laptop handheld. They do warn against charging with anything else, so make sure you only charge it with this cable to preserve the life on this device as much as you can. Overall, I will say that this is a very good device for the person that wants it, and this will go into the cons. Let's start off with this. I don't know who to recommend this to. This device is very, very peculiar in who it would serve. It doesn't serve a handheld person who wants a handheld experience because it's too big, it's too bulky, but the option is there if you do want it. It doesn't serve a laptop person because it's not a great laptop form factor. It has the power for a laptop, but a laptop form factor, it's not really comfortable. It's only really usable in that laptop way on a desk. So who is this device for? If it comes down to form factor, nobody. But this device is perfect for the person who wants it, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is that the person who is looking for something that can serve as a dual option, where I don't want to just use this as a handheld, I want to be able to do some productivity work on it, but also game on it, and maybe use a mouse and the keyboard integrated in because maybe a certain game doesn't do good with controls. That's the person this serves. Now, there's other reasons why I can't recommend this to everybody, like the support factor. In my experience, I did have a failed SSD. If you are not knowledgeable on computer technology, this can be a big deal breaker for you. I can't just walk in somewhere and have somebody fix it for me. I have to look, I have to source, I have to do this myself. Now, me being who I am able to repair this. I was repairing it and I got it up and running right away. But for somebody who is a little bit more new to this space, they're going to be very confused, and the repair service is not that good. You have to pay for the shipping yourself to give it to them so that they can repair it maybe a couple months later and then finally send the device back out to you. Now, I'm not completely sure of the timeline, and I may be over exaggerating this, but that's what I've heard on certain Reddit threads. Now, this support can be a big issue for people. There is a Discord open, very helpful people over there. Shout out to their Discord, also will be linked down below if you do need some support or have some questions at a later time. But this is a big issue for newer people. If you're already knowledgeable in computers enough and know how to do things like change an M.2 slot, it's very simple and it's very straightforward, and it's not too unrepairable. I would say this is a very repairable, admirably device. Let's get into the form factor now. As for the keyboard, it's very cramped. If you have very big hands with very big fingers, this keyboard playing games on will be very difficult. But if your hands are mid-sized and you're okay with the closeness together, it's definitely usable. My hands are a bit on the bigger side, but it was usable for games like War Thunder, which I play frequently. And the connectivity to a Bluetooth mouse that I'm using was very fast, so I have no complaints over that. And also the joysticks and the gamepad on the device, which is integrated, really cool. And I do like the option to cover these with the game covers. I really do like this a lot. I think it brings a very good mindfulness to this device that, hey, somebody might not want to see that this is a gaming computer. They might not want somebody to see that, so they can just go ahead and cover that up. I think that's very admirable what they did there. But this is a 1-month update. As you guys know, I'm just giving you my experience so far. So now that we did some pros and some cons, let me give you my experience. When I received the device, it was very well packaged, and it was a very enjoyable experience to go ahead and open and unbox this device. When I first booted it up, it was very, very fun. I had weeks of fun on it. I did notice it's a little bit big, so I was kind of unconfident to carry it in certain settings because I was worried I was going to drop it, and the case didn't feel too protective over it, but it was no big deal. I did use it a lot. I did play with it a lot. I brought it everywhere I went, even with that kind of insecurity on the device. But then one day while I was on a vacation and I was going to shoot videos for my TikTok channel, link will be in bio for that, unfortunately it gave out. And what I mean by that is a Windows update completely broke the SSD. This was very disappointing for me because I really feel that a device should have a very solid SSD installed into it, and unfortunately there was not that. And when I opened it up, the SSD looked like it had some flaws on it as a PCB designer, and it definitely could have played into Windows completely destroying the SSD and Windows completely bugging this device. No matter what I could do, there was no way to recover any of those files, so I did have to get a new SSD, and I went to Best Buy and just got Western Digital SSD. Everybody knows those. Went ahead, installed it, did a fresh reinstall of Windows, and it got up and running again. I did have to reset the BIOS yet again because it was booting very slow in the beginning, but after I got that all figured out, it boots under 15 seconds now, which is pretty fast considering that there was that much work done on it. So I'm very impressed with that. Now using it again, I have had very much the same experience I had before the SSD broke. So don't worry that if you have to repair it, it's going to be completely degraded and it's going to go ahead and die out and stop working on you. It will not. It will definitely continue to run and run well. All in all, I do have to say that this device is a solid choice for the person that it's for. It is really good for the person that wants it, and I'm emphasizing this because if you're getting this thinking it's going to be the same as a Legion Go or one of those more handheld-esque devices, you're going to be very disappointed. And if you think it's a gaming laptop, you're also going to be disappointed. If you want something like this, which I very much did, you are going to be very happy with it. If you don't want something that is in the middle and not one or the other, you're going to be disappointed. All in all, I can recommend this device for somebody who wants it and for somebody who is more experienced with Windows, the platform, and computer repair, in case you do have to replace the SSD, which I've heard is quite common with these GPD and Chinese devices in general. But ultimately, if you are a beginner too, although I would be hesitant and a little bit cautious when buying this, you can definitely go through a store like DroidX, not sponsored by the way, which has better warranties. So don't buy it directly from them like I did. Buy it from somebody that is like that third-party store that has warranties over these devices. Overall though, I will give this device a good thumbs up. I do like it, and I do think if you are interested in it, go ahead and purchase it. I'm big on this. Something is worth nothing until it's worth something to you. If that makes sense, then you guys got it. Go buy it if you're interested. If you're not, look into other options. I'll be reviewing a Win 4 soon, and I will be doing the eGPU for those who are curious if an eGPU does make a big difference in performance and if it does actually help. So all in all, thank you guys for tuning into my channel. Go subscribe. Please, I'm trying to get all my subscribers over from TikTok in case this ban does go through. And go follow my TikTok while it's still available, and my Instagram. All my links will be into one tap link below. And if you guys want to show any support, I do have a shop, but ultimately all these videos are funded by me. They're all my opinions. Nobody's seen this video. Nobody was informed I was going to make this video. This video is mine and mine opinions only. So take that for what you will. Have a great day, guys. Peace.